In today's video, you're going to learn a simple and effective QiGong technique that will help reduce or even resolve the discomfort of tinnitus in most people. Additionally, you're going to learn a tapping technique that, when combined with the QiGong, could vastly improve your life. So let's get started. First off, let's talk about tinnitus. What is it exactly? It is an affliction by which the auditory cortex of the brain registers that sound exists when it actually doesn't. For those of you who are here to learn about this technique to help heal others, it's important to note that while we might assume that tinnitus is a problem of the ear, the problem is actually elsewhere. Tinnitus is a communications issue between the ear's auditory sensors and the brain's auditory cortex, the portion of the brain that processes audio signals. There is a nerve that connects the ear's auditory organs with the brain, and it is known as the 8th cranial nerve. And what you're going to learn today is how to do a reset of the signal processing along the 8th cranial nerve. That is going to effectively reset the auditory processing system. It's worth noting that this doesn't work for everybody, but for the people for whom this works, they should experience reduced discomfort fairly quickly, sometimes even within the same day. The QiGong techniques that we're going to use are based on a variation of marrow washing. And the two areas that we're going to primarily deal with are the inner ear and the occiput at the back of the head. Additionally, we're going to work on the sacrum because of the compensation relationship between the sacrum and the occiput. And if you don't yet know how to run energy, click the video here, watch it, and come straight back. Now to start with, we're going to center ourselves. We want to take a few cleansing breaths to establish a baseline of calmness. Now I want you to imagine your spinal cord opening up. We're going to allow energy to flow up from the earth, through our feet, through our spine, through the crown, all the way up to the cosmos, and likewise back down again, from the cosmos, through the central channel of the spine, and then down into the earth again. And while we allow that to happen, we're just going to extend our neck. We're going to tilt our head slightly forward. Smile a little bit, and then we're going to touch the tip of our tongue to the roof of our mouth, just behind the front teeth. Now the QiGong technique is very, very easy. We're going to use a technique wherein we collect energy on the inhalation, and you want to imagine that you're collecting this big ball of universal life force energy. Inhaling and collecting, inhaling and collecting. And then as we reach the top with this big ball, we open up the arms, relax the wrists, and then push that ball of energy into the crown. And then we continue to push the ball of energy down in through the skull, and we wash the marrow, as it were. And then we let the energy settle, and then we repeat. Collect the energy. Collect the energy, big ball of energy. Big ball of energy. And then we open up the chest, relax the wrists. And remember that we want to imagine that the energy is meeting in the middle of the head. We're not going just to the surface. And we're going to do one more. Collect the energy. Up. Now you can do this movement as slowly as you want. You can spend as much time collecting the energy as you want, and you can spend as much time pushing the energy down into the skull as you want. You don't need to rush this. The slower you go, generally speaking, the better the results you get. Now we're going to move on this next time with the same starting technique, but we're going to wash to the occiput. We're going to collect the energy, collect the energy, collect the energy, but then we're going to move down. Remember to open the chest, but then we're going to move down to the occiput. And again, kind of a figure 8. Collect the energy. Moving down. And then wash the marrow to the back of the occiput. And you may feel a sort of resistance, as if there were magnets with poles facing each other. And that is a normal expression of energy. Collect the energy, breathing, imagining yourself as a conduit of universal life force energy. And then wash the marrow to the occiput. This, after we've done 3 sets of the inner ear and 3 on the occiput, we're then going to work on the sacrum. So it's the same basic premise, kind of a figure 8 to collect the energy, and then just place the hands on the sacrum, and your fingertips would be sort of just above the crack of your buttocks on the flat area above the cheeks proper. And you're going to do this 3 times. Collect the energy. Nice figure 8 pattern. Collect the energy. Breathe in. And one more. Remember, we want to do everything in 3s. Figure 8 pattern to collect the energy here. And then just into the sacrum. So perfect. That's the QiGong portion of the video. The next thing we're going to learn now is tapping. Tapping is a technique that has been surprisingly effective in a number of modalities. And taking cues from these successes, we are now going to stimulate the 8th cranial nerve directly by tapping on the occipital ridge at the back of the skull. And we're going to do this by placing our index finger over the top of the middle finger and placing it along the ridgeline of our occiput. Tap 20 times. And then after that, we're going to take a break. Now, as you noticed, my fingers weren't exactly in proper sync. It doesn't matter if you get it exactly synced from left to right. If there's a little bit of an offset, all it does is it gives you the equivalent of a double tap. Now, this gentle stimulus has both an auditory and a physically percussive character that acts to reset the signaling along the 8th cranial nerve. And when we do this several times per day, many people will see dramatic results. The full protocol involves 3 reps each of the QiGong, inner ear, occiput, and sacrum, followed by 3 sets of 20 taps on the occipital ridge. You can also do the QiGong or the tapping separately. If you want to do the QiGong separately, just bear in mind to keep things in sets of 3, with a maximum number of 3 sets. For example, 3 sets of 3 repetitions each. For the tapping, you want to do 9 sets of 20 taps. I highly recommend that you spread the sets throughout the day. 3 sets of the QiGong plus 3 sets of the tapping at 3 different times throughout the day is absolutely perfect in my opinion. Additionally, something to keep in mind is that you want to do an assessment of the severity of the tinnitus pre- and post-session. Simply think about how much the tinnitus is bothering you or is bothering your client, and then write it down. After the session, repeat the assessment and see how it goes. Now, tap that like button, and for a complete energy healing solution for sinus problems, click the video here.